All right. All right. Let me get some music going for you guys. Welcome to the live stream of Gen Sports Corner. Back at you for 723. I believe it's 23rd. Yeah, 723 2020. Got some interesting stuff to talk about. Breaking news today with Mike Tyson signing a deal to fight in an exhibition match against one Mr. Roy Jones Jr., as well as the Washington Foreskins coming up with a new name. So I'll get into that very briefly, but let me turn on some instrumentals real quick so there ain't too much dead air, dead space in this live stream. Yeah, I think this will suffice. Me set this up properly. Get to the comments. There we go. It's weird seeing yourself in the live stream. All right, let's jump right into it. Let's talk about Mike Tyson coming back. I believe it's September 12th, if I'm correct. He's coming back in the Legends League, and I believe this is a league that Mike Tyson has started amongst him and a few other investors. So they're bringing back legends of boxing, legends of other sports as well, according to him, that want to give it another go and just live out their prime years in the way that they want to. So I think this is very interesting now. So he's coming back in an 8 round exhibition match against Roy Jones Jr. Now Mike Tyson hasn't fought since he lost to Kevin McBride back in 2005. And Kevin McBride, I mean, he's an okay fighter, but nothing special. And Mike Tyson wasn't able to get a dub against him. And that just seemed like it was it. Now that Mike Tyson that fought Kevin McBride, that ain't the same Mike Tyson that I've seen in these training videos. Now there's a subtle difference between training and actually being in a ring. And before I continue on, in the comments below, let me know if the music is too loud, if you can't hear me clearly, but it seems like all the levels are okay. But back to what I was talking about, I haven't seen this Mike Tyson in a long time. Now you're in training, you're on the bag, you're on the focus mitts, you have your trainer calling out combinations, make you look real good on the pad work. But and even when you get into sparring against guys that come into the gym, they see, hey, Mike Tyson's in the ring. Hey, let me get a little bit of work, champ. And they coming in and they sparring you. You're not trying to kill each other, and it's a controlled setting, it's a controlled environment. Much different than when you actually get into a boxing ring against a guy that wants to tear your head off. Even if it's an exhibition, mind you, they're not going to try to kill each other, I don't think, but they're not trying to lose either. And there's going to be a certain level of competitiveness and just sheer tenacity. Testosterone is going to be flowing, and these guys are both heavy hitters. And we know what Mike can do, but we also know what Roy Jones can do. So this is going to be very interesting. I think an 8 round fight, and I think I might have mentioned this previously, worrying about Mike Tyson and his legs. Could he go 10 rounds, 12 rounds? Obviously not. I didn't think so. I thought that a 6 round fight would be a very good starting spot. And I said a 6 round exhibition. I think that would have been a very good look for him if he wanted to come back and just get his feet wet and have an exhibition match against not a top notch guy, but just a guy that really get his bearings back about him. I think Roy Jones, that's a good opponent. It's a name opponent. It's going to sell. When people see those two names, we obviously know that they're not in their primes when they were in their 30s, but the names are going to sell. The legacy by itself, that's going to sell. And it's only an 8 round fight. So, let's say one or both of them gets gassed by, let's say, round 4 or 5. You can make it 2 rounds, maybe 3 rounds off of fumes. You can't go another 8 rounds after round 4 off of fumes. It don't happen. That's how dangerous situations take place. But going 8 rounds, especially when they're pacing themselves and they're not probably not going to gas out, I think that's a good look, especially coming back for exhibition match. Let me guys know what you think in the comments because I'm going to be looking forward to this. There's a lot of fights coming up in boxing on Showtime this summer and this fall, but if I'm being quite honest, this is one of the fights that I'm actually looking forward to the most, just because I'm curious, man. I'm actually way more curious about this than I was about Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor, because you had one guy that is a boxer and then another guy who, though he's a good striker, he's not a pure boxer, fighting outside of his comfort zone, outside of the octagon in a completely different sport, as opposed to having two legends, two former champions at the heavyweight class coming back in the exhibition and just seeing what the hell happens. So I'll buy it. I am buying it. Let me cut that out. I'm not. I will be buying it. I am buying it. Whenever it goes on sale for September 12th, I'm buying it. And don't be there because nobody else will watch it on TV like the rest of us. I'm excited about this. So let me know what your thoughts are on the fight coming up with Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. I think it's going to be a banger one way or another. And then secondly, let's hop into the Washington Foreskins, because this will be the last time I call them the Redskins, because I have personally held off on calling them by that name for the past 2 or 3 years, just because the more and more that issue was brought up, the more and more I had a problem with it, because it doesn't directly affect me, but I know what it's like to be affected by a name or slogan or logo that you find disparaging towards your ethnicity. And Daniel Snyder, he has a million reasons for his fans and other football fans not to like him, but this is just another added reason. And when that was brought up, this subject was matter was brought up like 4 or 5 years ago. This is not something new. It's just been pushed to the forefront because of the George Floyd situation. And then you have different things being taken down, Confederate statues, different symbols of what people would associate with oppression. And now this is going over not just to Washington, but to the Cleveland Indians as well. They're in talks to uh, towards changing their logo and their name. So this is going to affect. It's going to have a ripple effect. But Daniel Snyder has temporarily changed the name, and this is breaking news a few hours ago, earlier in the day, to the Washington football team. Like, what the hell is that? The Washington football team? Look, I know you want to take your time and think of an appropriate name that's going to stick and that's going to be able to sell tickets, but in the interim, you couldn't think of anything better than the Washington football team. This is a freaking joke. And I'm not even a fan of their team. But if I was part of that fan base, I would be freaking embarrassed. If they ever change the name of the Eagles because maybe somebody didn't like the bald eagle because it represented oppression of, just say, for example, black people, and the bald eagle, it infuriates me, and it just triggers me. And you had enough people come to the forefront and raise enough noise that they took away the Philadelphia Eagles name and changed it to the Philadelphia football team. I don't know. I would lose my shit. I don't know what I would do. Sorry for cursing. I'm working on that, but I would lose it, man. Like, this is, it's already embarrassing enough being a fan of that team. You've been so dysfunctional for the past 20 to 30 years. Joe Gibbs has been the only semblance of normalcy that you've had, whether it be in the 80s or back in 2004, 5, 6 when he came back. That's the only semblance of normalcy you guys have had in the past 30 years. And then you just add this on top of it. Daniel Snyder needs to go for reasons other than this, but this is just another reason. And we're not even going to get into, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to get into this with the whole scandal of 15 female either reporters or people that work with the team in some shape, form, or capacity coming out and talking about the toxic culture with in the Washington organization, in that locker room. It just similar to what we heard with Papa John's and the Dallas Mavericks. Mark Cuban had to deal with that 2 years ago, I think, when they're just talking about the toxic culture with females working with that team. And with the Redskins, man, if it ain't one thing, it's another. And like I said, and this is me generalizing, they're just one big dysfunctional organization. Hell, they're one big dysfunctional family. They just can't get right. No matter what you're talking about, with relation to them. They can't get right, man. It's just what they do. It's how they operate. And this is just another example of just the foolishness. It's embarrassing, man. People have to walk around with their hats on. Even once you take the logo off, you're still a dysfunctional organization. How are people supposed to take you seriously? People invest their time, their money, their energy into this team, and for what? This is what you repay them with? Nah, it's just that just don't fly. So that's what's going on with them. They're just a whole hot mess this year. But what else is new, right? Let me know what you guys think about that. Those are the main things I wanted to talk about. Let me think if there's something else that was on my mind I wanted to get to. Oh yeah, Philly starting tomorrow, opening day, Florida Marlins at Citizens Bank Park. As I said before, don't be there and you won't be square because nobody else will be in the ballpark. We will be watching it on TV. I will be watching it on this big screen, which I just got in. Not bragging, but I'm waiting to see the first home run of the year by Reese Hoskin and Bryce Harper. And hell, if the whole starting nine wants to hit a home run, including Aaron Nola, I'd be okay with that too. I really wouldn't care as long as we get the win. Hell, Aaron Nola could hit 5 home runs for all I'd care. If we get the dub, then who does it really matter? So I'm excited for baseball. Oh yeah, there's plenty of things I can talk about. We could talk about the NBA bubble. It looks immaculate. That basketball court in that bubble is crazy. I'm ready for basketball. I don't know about y'all. I'm ready. I'm ready to see how this playoff scenario is going to turn out because you've had 3 or 4 months off. All that momentum that was built by the Bucks, are they going to be the same team when they come back? Are they going to have the same momentum? Are they going to pick up where they left off? Or are the Lakers or the Sixers or the Miami Heat going to be the team to get it done? Like I said before, I'm going to talk about the Sixers in my next episode. I was going to talk about it in my next episode, whether it was today or tomorrow, but these breaking stories with Mike Tyson and the Washington football team, they took precedent. I'm sorry, but I want to start making these videos a little shorter so I'm not rambling on too much. I want to keep things short and concise. But yes, I will be getting into the NBA in particular in my next video, as well as doing a post game analysis for the Phillies after their first game, because I really want to talk about Ben Simmons and Shake Milton. Shake Milton, to me, is the wild card. He's what this whole playoff run hinges around. We can say it's Joel Embiid. We could say it's Mr. Ben Simmons. We can say Al Horford or Harris, like a combination of those 4 guys and how they get along on the court. But I really personally think that Shake Milton and the ability to score from anywhere on the court is what's going to make or break this offense. Because we all know, hell, if any of you people, you fans, remember the Phoenix Suns from the 2000s with Amari Stoudemire and Steve Nash, they were running up and down the court. But as soon as they got to playoff time and these teams slowed it down in the half court and made them run the offense, it was night and day. They could not ever get to the finals. Even though if you looked at them during the season, it was almost like a pre-written conclusion that they were going to be, if not in the finals, at least in the conference championship. But so I think that Shake Milton, back to my point, is going to open things up for the Sixers team. And let me know what you guys think, because that's what I'm going to focus on in the next video alongside the Phillies. But that's pretty much it for now. Thank you for tuning in. I hope I brought some semblance of just a excitement or something different to do on a random blase Thursday. And I'll be back with you guys tomorrow, because I'm either going to be hyped or pissed the hell off following this Phillies game tomorrow. Hopefully they don't get my blood pressure too high, because I'm still relatively healthy and I don't need them taking more years off my life than is necessary. So that's it for now. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow. That post game might be like, maybe it might be, if it's getting towards 10 o'clock, I'll just start it early, even if the game's in like the 8th or 9th inning, just so I'm not on too late starting this podcast off. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So enjoy your Thursday. Hopefully you had dinner, get something to eat and relax, chill. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Peace.